Welcome to Let's Go Indigo. I'm your host, Isaac Holtz, and on a good day, Indigo Ike. Today is a short public service announcement about a topic that I think is important is in terms of why learn all this? Why learn the integral model? Why be interested in what indigo is or what teal is, what green, orange? And the reason is these levels of development are held together by a framework, a worldview that gets laid down gradually over time. And some of these stages have been carved out by our ancestors. And so when we get to a traditional amber concrete operational level of development, our ancestors from 20,000 years ago were carving this out as a leading edge development for humans. And eventually that just becomes the birthright of every 7-year-old. And so most children, if they're healthy, by the time they reach 5, 6, 7, maybe into 10, they start to move from a red, egocentric developmental stage into a group-centered, ethnocentric, what we'd say amber or a traditional stage. And the integral stage, the teal stage, which we've looked at this model before, part of the AQAL model, the all quadrants, all levels, all lines, all states, all types. This is the levels or stages or structures, waves. And when you get to teal, you need to lay down some structures. Some of it has been laid down by integral forebears like Ken Wilber, and others that have dove into this space and evolved their consciousness beyond a postmodern green consciousness. And so there are elements, they don't have to be specifically the same ones for everyone, but there are certain patterns that do need to be recognized by the mind. And so it appears that for a holistic, integrative stage to be laid down, the tracks to be set down before you so that your mind and eventually your being can operate from a integral teal, turquoise stage, there is some work that needs to be done on the cognitive first. And so it does behoove you to read a book, watch this channel, look for other integral resources, and I'll link one, by the way, at the end toward Integral Life, Ken's and Company's website. They have some great videos on many things, but they have a few short videos on some of these basic building blocks of integral, such as stages and quadrants and lines and states. I made a video on these stages, just a small, my own breakdown of some of these. They are just fantastic and efficient, so I duly recommend Integral Life, checking them out. And then when you've done the work, when you started to lay down the details, the foundation of this integral holistic structure, you can then look at the world news with me, with others, and have a shorthand and go, oh, I didn't see that before, but this is actually makes much more sense of why the world is operating as it is. And I say it takes a little bit of work because it's not like learning somebody's philosophy. You know, it does a lot of this for me, at least in the version I give to you, comes from Ken Wilber. But he was always fond of saying this isn't like memorizing a worldview or a philosophy and then applying it to the world. It is actually a psychoactive operating system that if you take some time and learn a little bit about development, the notion of quadrants, the interior and the exterior of an individual and then the group collective, and then states and all these things, you can begin, it'll just kind of absorb into your self system and you'll just see more of reality. And I think there's much beyond teal worldview, But if you learn the teal worldview, you do begin to see something that includes where you're at, perhaps a late green worldview, a postmodern, and give you a chance to see something beyond that, see something new. And then perhaps we can get to a point where we can talk about indigo. You know, if we look at these levels here, beyond this second tier teal turquoise is an indigo stage, which is promised to be the leading edge and beyond. You know, you can go to violet, ultraviolet, this clear light, and it's great to kind of theorize and talk about it. But the notion is, even there, you'll start to lay down tracks such as just learning to be present in the world, listen to the wisdom of the body, which you can do at every stage, but it just becomes a permanent way of navigating the world, in my view, when you start to dip into indigo. And so I encourage you, let's learn some of these integral, AQAL, all quadrants, all levels, all lines, all states, all types. We'll learn some of these. It sounds heady, it sounds confusing, it can sound complicated, but it really is. Ken and company and anyone else who's carved out this space has distilled it into as few as possible little categories, if you will. And so if you just kind of dip into some of these, look for the video here at the end, and just do a little bit of studying, and I promise it'll open doors to a much wider world. And look forward to seeing you in that space. Be well.